Welcome to the Spiritualpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Christian, aka Love Pixel. And in each episode, we sit down with spiritual entrepreneurs sharing their knowledge, wisdom, and tools on their path to authentic success. Let's dive in. What's up, beautiful people? This is Christian from the Successful Spiritualpreneur Podcast. And today we're super excited because we have two wonderful people on the podcast. Their brand is called Leiamoon. And Leiamoon is a wellness brand on a mission to empower the womb by spreading awareness about the time-honored practice of vaginal steaming and making it easily accessible to women everywhere. The co-founding husband and wife team, Jessica and Andrew Pratt, combined their strength for Leiamoon when Jessica had a transformative womb steaming experience in 2016. Jessica is a home birth mom of two, licensed architect, rites of passage ceremonialist, and community herbalist. She's a wildly creative designer, passionate about making content and tools to connect people with the wisdom of the womb. She's excited to share her latest innovation, the world's first temperature-controlled Yoni steam seat. And Andrew is a devoted dad, husband, and entrepreneur. His first insight into what would become his shared mission with Jessica came during a shamanic training retreat during the Peruvian jungle in 2010. So that's been a long time. So he draws upon his background in the law of business to navigate growth and discover new ways to support the divine feminine. And with that, welcome to the show, Jessica and Andrew.
Thanks, Christian.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Wow, what an honor to have such, I feel, I don't know you guys, but I feel you guys have so much wisdom and knowledge. So yeah, just briefly tell us a little bit about your background and highlight some of your, just milestones along the way and maybe even how you got to know each other. I think that'd be a good starting point.
Well, we first met through a mutual friend at a loft party in Brooklyn almost, 15 years ago now, 12 years ago, I should say. And almost immediately we felt this real cosmic connection, and it was super exciting. But I always tell this story with a bit of humor because I remember a few weeks into getting to know each other, Andrew was telling me he was convinced that we were musical soulmates. And that really confused me because I was like, well, I love music, yes, but I'm not necessarily looking for the musical soulmate as much as the soulmate. So I still jumped on board. I joined a band with him. I just moved back from London, England, where I was working for this big celebrity architect and kind of in this really fast-paced, professional, linear trajectory. So once I moved back to New York City, I was very free and open to just letting all of that fall apart, essentially. I felt like I really needed that. And that's kind of a big part of my story of how I even came to womb steaming, was just trying to clutch onto what I thought success meant, and then versus feeling into my heart and where that free spirit really wanted to live. So I think in our meeting, I was so excited because it felt like Andrew was really embodying that free spirit. He had just gotten back from this shamanic training in Peru. I'd never even heard of the word shaman before. So I was just learning so much talking to him, and I felt so excited that I decided, yeah, why not? I'm going to be a musician now and be this guy's musical soulmate. So we joined a cumbia band based in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn. And yeah, it kind of all spiraled from there. Do you want to share a little more?
Yeah, I mean, when I moved to New York back in 2010, I had graduated from law school the previous year. And against the advice of my mentors and my dean of students and everybody else around me, I shot off to New York to pursue an acting career and wait tables and get a job as a dog runner and just do an all-around New York hustle. And during that time, I attended my first medicine ceremony within a couple months of being in New York. And then 7 months later, I found myself down in Peru going on the deepest spiritual journey of my entire life. And I was just living in this very, very cosmic realm. I returned to New York City and I was in that zone when Jessica and I met. And I was not working a regular job. I was doing all these things. I had kind of cobbled this life together and I was exploring all my artistic potential as a musician and also as an actor, but really coming back to music, which had been a big part of my life prior to that as well. And we joined this band together and then formed another band after that. And there was all kinds of band drama. And during the midst of that, we like fell in love in this roundabout sort of way. I mean, we had this immediate connection right away in the beginning, as Jessica had said. And then we were bandmates, and there was this tension between us, that ultimately ended up in really us getting married eventually, like fast forward a few years. But we, during that time, also, Jessica discovered steaming, and I've always had this sort of entrepreneurial mindset as well. And when she showed me the practice, she was in sort of the recovery process from having a uterine polyp removed. So she had had a major surgery, and she showed me the steaming practice at home that she had learned. And I knew that she was a really talented designer and architect. And I was feeling really in touch with the cosmos and ideas and entrepreneurship and everything. And we just hatched this idea right then and there. I remember looking at her being like, this practice is amazing and what it's doing for you is incredible, but there should be an easier way to do this, because she was squatting over like a boiling pot of hot water and herbs. And I was like, we should design a seat for this. And you can do it. I just know you, and I know you can do it. And that was like kind of where the genesis of our brand and mission and everything started.
Wow, beautiful. And now Leiamoon is online since how many years, how many months?
I think our website really went up in 2018, I think, but it was really 2016 that I had this experience and that we decided we really wanted to commit ourselves to spreading more information about these really ancient traditional practices that honor the feminine, or the divine feminine. We were really understanding it as, and still do, and that there is a great need to really find a way to articulate that, to make it more accessible to the broader stream of humanity. So I think like we really were feeling that so much at the time on a cosmic level, but also on our interpersonal level. So yeah, that was really like 2016 that we really founded this brand. And online, I think it was like 2018 that our website launched. And really just this past year that our product has been out there in the world.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's transition a little bit into what we call the rapid fire questions. And it's always cool because it's kind of like there's like a different series of questions that we always ask our audience. And it's cool because we can stay on a topic if we feels aligned, and if not, we just hop on to the next question. Okay, so let's start with question number one. What's your definition of a successful spiritualpreneur?
I would say somebody who is living in alignment with what they feel is their divine purpose and mission in life. I'll say that for myself, that I feel that's what being a spiritual entrepreneur really means, and finding a way to do that such that I can create value and impact in the world in alignment with my mission, while also supporting my family. So both of those things together are kind of the key ingredients, I would say.
Beautiful. And I think, yeah, what's your take on it, Jess?
Yeah, and I think being in alignment can mean a lot of things, but I feel like feeling liberated to speak from the heart and share from the heart in a super uninhibited way, and just being in that flow state of sharing and creating value is really where I see like
Hmm.
the definition of success going. And I think you can feel that in your body when it's happening.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you guys are such a great example because you are literally like, divine masculine and divine feminine, which we all carry within ourselves. But in your case, it's literally like divine masculine and divine feminine in business together. So I think it's such a beautiful, you know, metaphor and example for this, you know. So let's look at your offerings or products, right? So what products slash services do you offer, and why do you offer them? So feel free to talk about the benefits of vaginal steaming, because some people, yeah, might not even know what it is. So quickly explain again what it is, and then also what the benefits are.
So, vaginal steaming is a self care practice, or really it could be a community care practice of sitting or squatting over a pot of steaming water that's typically infused with herbs. And traditionally, this has been used for, healing around all sorts of menstrual function, but also for healing postpartum, for transitioning into menopause and beyond. It has many different physical values in terms of increasing circulation to the pelvic area and reducing stagnation, for just an overall more great feeling, I guess, in body, mind, and spirit around the pelvis or the womb. But really, for me personally, it was about having or cultivating that deep connection with my body and with this really incredible part of us, the uterus or the womb space, that really is where we grow and birth babies from, but also as a center of creativity, of ideas, flowing through down us from the stars above, like into this physical realm. So I love using the practice as this portal of manifestation, let's say, as a monthly ritual, could be around the moon cycle or really around your inner moon cycle of menstruation. So that's how I like to frame the practice. But what we offer is, education around what this means and how it can be integrated into our more modern lifestyles. And through that same line of thought, we created a home modern vaginal steam seat that really harnesses the technology of today with this ancient ritual to make it more easily accessible, safer, and really more luxurious, we like to think. Our steam seat has a temperature control system, because a lot of the pushback that you might find online if you Google vaginal steaming is like, oh no, you could burn yourself. But really, this is a very gentle, non invasive practice, which we want to really amplify that message and make a product that can make people feel safe and it be more streamlined and accessible to really make it part of your monthly practice.
Amazing. And why would somebody do that? Just, for anybody asking this, like, yeah, this sounds good, but why? Like, what does it actually do? Like, what does it help with?
I think for anyone that's experiencing irregularities with their menstrual cycle, it can really help to create balance, because a big part of, feeling stagnation or cramping in the uterus is because we don't get enough blood flow or circulation here. We are sitting most of the day, and maybe we're not eating the warm foods and moving our bodies the way that we used to. So I think there's a lot of dysfunction that's happening in the pelvis. And this is a way to kind of sit with ourselves, to really deeply relax and let this part soften and open, which is another sensation we don't always make space for, but it's an extremely cathartic one that I think has many benefits in and of itself. And it might sound strange, and you still might have that why question mark, but most every woman that's ever tried this, almost immediately will just feel that, like that dropping down and that sort of return to home. Our our root, our center of safety and creativity, that sacral chakra or the root chakra, is like such an incredible place that being, sitting behind a computer screen and kind of being more in our like monkey brain mind of creating can really take us out of that place in the pelvis, or even like the more cosmic term of like that center of creation. So vaginal steaming really allows you to really sink back into that space and give it that TLC it really deserves, or even that honor and reverence it deserves.
Wow.
I'll
Yeah.
just add on to that from the point of view for your audience, for people who are out there that are more looking for those quote unquote scientific, concrete, tangible benefits or reasons for vaginal steaming. It a lot of women steam when they're trying to get pregnant, right? It can be a great practice to do to prepare the womb for an optimal pregnancy and implantation. It is very specifically and very historically well documented use cases for postpartum steaming. So specifically after having a child, That's probably the most common historical documented reason for vaginal steaming. So most women are familiar with a sitz bath, for example. This is like a sitz bath, but I mean, I would say better. I don't want to, it's a little bit apples and oranges, but similar sort of modality and concept as a sitz bath. Then for women who are approaching menopause, has its own set of benefits there. And then if you go back to the earlier stages of womanhood, anything and everything that you can imagine under the sun that has to do with pelvic floor and the menstrual cycle in general and all the issues that women tend to have around this part of their body and the cycles that they're dealing with on a monthly basis, the anecdotal reports of all, there's just so many, there's too many to even name that women are coming up with every day for things that they find value that they're getting out of from doing this practice.
So I want to
Wow.
mention too, like just general trauma, some of the energetics around this part of our body of not feeling safe, or maybe literally dealing with sexual trauma or something that's really turned you off or made you feel more guarded with this part of ourselves, that steaming can be a very gentle way to very softly and slowly allow us to really open and release and feel free and liberated with this part of self again. And I think there's so much holding that happens here, and that our menstrual cycle is even an opportunity every month to release, to, allow the uterine lining to fill up. And then when we're not getting pregnant, that we bleed. And I do feel like this is also designed on that emotional, spiritual, energetic level too, to purge and release. And a lot of times when we are bleeding, we don't give ourselves space and time to really sink into that way of relating with it. So for me personally, steaming a few days after menstruation is a great way to reflect on this menstrual period and honor that release and really process what it is that we are grieving and letting go of. So I think for those functions as well, it can be really a special way to like start the rest of your cycle or the next part of your month as you enter into the follicular phase, where we kind of feel like we have a little more energy.
Beautiful. All right. Next question that's up is intuition versus logic. So, when did you last follow your intuition over logic in your business, and what was the outcome?
Every single second of every single day, on some level, we're following that intuition.
We
Specific
would, I mean,
example.
we wouldn't be doing this business at all if it wasn't for intuition. I mean,
Yeah.
when we started, right? If we go back to the very inception, it was very much an intuition that we had. We had no history as making a product, right? Like we had never done this before, so it was 1,000% intuition from day one that we just followed to even start. I'll just say that. And sorry to interrupt you, but go ahead.
No, that's very true. I guess we're thinking about it more in a general way, but it does feel like almost every day we're leading with intuition. Some of it is even just feeling into what the greater messages of the now are. Like, for example, today, just knowing, Monday there's going to be this solar eclipse passing through North America, where we are. And I just had this download of like, oh, this would be a really great time to make a flower essence. I love working with plants. I mean, that's another beautiful thing about steaming, is that you're working with plants on a medicinal level, but also it's like kind of the energetics of it all. So I was like, oh, wow, when the eclipse comes, I really want to make a flower essence. I remember doing that in 2017, the last time the solar eclipse came through my region. And it's such a beautiful way to like harness the spirit of that specific time, not only like the what's happening in, the stars and cosmos above, but also like here on earth and in our own being and body. And flower essences, really last a lifetime. So it's a medicine that I have in my cabinet that I can always take a little dropper of and tune into that memory. Like it's a way to really dip back into that time. So that's one way that I was like, had this intuitive download today. I was like, I'm going to make a guide for how to do this, because I know personally I'm going to go do this. And I would love for our community to join me in this so we can share photos and really be inspired by each other. So that's
Yeah.
one way that this just happened most recently.
And then just imagine on Tuesday when people ask you what you do for your eclipse, you say, "Well, I was steaming my vagina. How about you guys?"
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's a great conversation starter. And it's, yeah, I feel people really like a lot of the things that the spiritual community does is like that is funny or weird or like there's so much to it. If people would just look a little bit deeper into everything that's going on around them, right? Like
Yeah, or just like give it a try. Like, does it feel good? Okay, let's jump on board. We want to feel good.
for example, I love tea, and when I talk to people like, yeah, I love tea, and like, I like tea, they're like, yeah, cool, cool for you. You know what I mean? So, but tea is amazing. It's like incredible. Like even you use it for the vaginal steaming. Maybe not the tea plant itself, but herbals for sure. Like herbals are
Yes.
such magic, So it's really, yeah, it's everything's there. People just start looking at the what's in front of you. Everything is just so filled with like pure essence, life essence, right? And yeah, so cool. Let's talk about a significant life lesson that you have learned that still applies to your business today. So, what's a significant life lesson you've learned that you still apply in business today?
Immediately in my mind, I'm going to our birth experiences. We have two children. And I think that was another space of like just trusting our bodies and the wisdom that we innately carry as humans. I personally felt, the power of that in surrendering to this very hyper natural process of carrying and birthing my children at home. And but there was a lot of friction there in the beginning because I was of advanced maternal age, as they say here in the U.S. I think it used to be a geriatric pregnancy because I was 37 at the time. So there was a lot of chatter from authority figures and my care providers really telling me that,
High
you know,
risk pregnancy.
yeah, but that's not what I how I felt at all. And so there was that tension where I really wanted to trust and kind of give over my power on some level to the people that, were I was paying essentially because they're the professionals, but it really felt in conflict with what I knew in my heart. So I think I'm really grateful that eventually I decided to listen to my body and my baby, that were growing inside me and know that we can do this and that we can do it in a very free way. And I think that lesson of saying no and trusting my own inner voice and authority and just allowing what's beautiful and natural to come through me in its own like uninhibited way was a really powerful moment and turned out beautifully, thank God. But that's really what I was trusting in. So I think, in this business too, we've been taking so many risks. We have a family now to support. We each have our own, professional hats. I am a licensed architect. Andrew studied law, so we have these like credentials that are sellable, I guess, in our community that can create businesses that everyone's already seen before. Like we know what that model looks like, and that can be a way for us to feel, let's say, financially or even it's more financially stable than spiritually stable, I would say. But I think what's been in our gut and in our heart is that we have to help be part of this wave of transformation here in the world and spread this message of accessing the divine feminine, of that tenderness, of that softness, and allowing or being part of the elevation of that vibration on the planet. So, in a sense, like even though we have like these clear paths that have been led before us of what success can look like, it's not really what's resonating in our heart. And we feel so committed to this business that we're working to grow, but it's just more than a business. It's a frequency that we're working to project.
I love that. That's fantastic. And I think also like with our work at Love Pixel Agency, like, I was talking to a friend a couple of weeks ago. I was in Guatemala. I was like, so what do you got? What do you guys actually do? It's like, well, yeah, we build websites, right? But really, what we do, we bring the feminine back online, right? Because we infuse whatever we do with love and this organic, just like vibe, right? Because technology is primarily masculine, like it's all letters and boxes and yada yada. Even to like be out of the box online is always sometimes a little bit of a hassle, right? But really, that's like that's why I feel it's super aligned. Like we bring the feminine back online, and I feel the internet has become such a marketplace of masculine commerce and pushing and yada yada. Like everything just gets so like yucky, like funnels get so like ugh, because it's like, oh, purchase in the next 10 minutes and whatever, bro. Like purchase when I'm ready, not when you push me to it, right? So I think that's really that's a trend that I'm seeing online. It's really beautiful to see that you guys are on the same wavelength, because it's just, I feel it's like a frequency that's just coming through for us humans at this time being, right? So let's switch gears a little bit. I want to ask Andrew, what are the five top tools, or maybe it's three tools, 3 to 5 tools for an entrepreneur or a business like yourself to get started with their service or product online, to start making money and like monetizing their passion and what they love?
Well, I'm going to go back to like the super basics here. So, as opposed to a specific piece of technology, first tool, number one tool, the number one resource that you have always is yourself. And I mean, this is something I'm still learning every day, from all the self-help material and the mindset shifts and all this stuff, constantly having to remind myself to invest in myself and know that I am my greatest resource. And nobody's going to find the answer for me. And that is just a lesson that I've learned the hard way so many times, over and over again. And that hard thing, the thing that's right in front of you, that is the hardest thing to do, is usually there because that's the thing that you need to do. That's the challenge that is there for you. And I'm just saying that because that's my work and my realization more and more every day, and that never goes away. And the more that I embrace that challenge that's right in front of me and lean into it, the better things tend to go. The more that I avoid it, duck it, dodge it, whatever that thing is of the day, or try to outsource it. I'm not saying you can't outsource and delegate, because as an entrepreneur, you absolutely have to do that. And we've done that in all kinds of different areas of our business. But anything that has to do with the core mission and the core drivers of the business, and right, that's on us to own every single day and to be on top of and to be in front of. So keeping that front and center and leaning into it, that's my number one answer before I talk about any other sort of specific hacks here and there,
I
let's
love
say.
that. I love that. That's a great answer. That is a great answer.
And
So
I'm saying it from a place of I am still the student of that answer. I'm not saying it like, oh, I've perfected that, because far from it. I'm still learning that lesson every day.
yeah, I think we all do. You know what I mean? There's always something else that we get to embody and learn and master. That's just life, you know. So it's a beautiful journey to be a part of, and we can master more. Do we want to, how do we want to master more today, or shall we relax a little bit? Yeah. So okay. So let me ask you a funny question. So if you had to start a new business next month, what would you do right now to make money in the next 30 days in alignment with your values? Of course, because we're spiritual entrepreneurs. We're not just like make money entrepreneurs.
You want to take that one?
Ooh. Well, I mean, I guess even just mentioning my birth story, I feel like there needs to be so much support around that time for women, especially postpartum. So I'm always thinking about this time, maybe because it's still kind of fresh for me. Our son is 20 months old. But what around postpartum would I do specifically? Gosh, well, immediately I'm thinking of steaming. So, but maybe it can parlay as part of the business we already have of a service based business where we could train like fleets of women to really flock to the postpartum woman and serve at her feet. I know there's so many programs out there of women trying to do this, but I would love to figure out how to make that easier. That doesn't really explain how to make money in the next 30 days necessarily either, but usually we think big idea and then try to fill in those monetization pieces after. But really, that's sort of what I hate about postpartum care, is that it still has to be transactional, when historically it was just the sisters and the neighbors and the mothers and the grandmothers. So I would love to invent a creative way to trade value that didn't have to do with making money, especially if it meant that the postpartum woman or like the new mother had to pay someone to care for her. Like that just doesn't sit right with me. So I'd love to invent a way to like eradicate that whole sense of commerce around care.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. That's part. I think as part of the last question we'll have today, where I ask people, but we can ask it now. It's like, what's your vision for the new Earth? You know what I mean? Because I feel payments and money exchange, like that's all fine and good and great. Um, and we also want to find ways where we can come back into a more organic way of being with each other and servicing and helping each other. So, yeah, what's your vision of the new Earth? Whatever that means.
Well, I once wrote a song lyric that is sort of the embodiment of what my grandest vision would be. And that lyric was, mass enlightenment is my only dream. And when I wrote that, I was kind of in a sort of surrealistic place in my mind. And I mean, it kind of means just what it says. I was just dreaming of the time when all of humanity can be elevated to this place of where we are all enlightened beings, loving each other, living in perfect and complete harmony. Since the time that I wrote that song lyric, which was many years ago, it's probably 20 years ago that I wrote that. And even when I wrote it, I had that came with this other realization that mass enlightenment really though is personal enlightenment, one by one. It's not something that you can ever force upon a mass group of a collective people. It's something that we individually all have to aspire to and rise to the occasion of in our own personal spiritual journeys. So I think the way to get to that, let's call it a utopian ideal, is not through trying to make everybody do it, but it is through what we're doing right here and what you're doing as spiritual entrepreneurs. This is a way, and I would say the, or at least a main channel to get there is, I want the future to be more and more people connecting and finding their own path, their own true alignment in their heart and soul to create and give and offer to the world, an exchange of some of value that is going to be greater than what they're getting back. And if we all find the way to do that, and we're all learning how to do that as individuals, maybe we'll get there someday.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think that's the beauty about humans and about love and about the entire spiritual domain. Um, I was listening to this channel. His name is Adamus Saint Germain. Not sure. I like to listen to a lot of like channel material, and I love listening to these people because they just just like bring it down. It's just like they make it real. Um, and he said, yeah, the biggest, like, AI is gonna get to a state where they're gonna have everything so optimized and perfected, and like they're gonna be so much smarter than we are as humans, and they're gonna be at this stage where like we searched the entire galaxy, we know everything, we've read every book, we dissected humans, people's brains, like we just don't understand what this thing is that they cannot be aware of because it's consciousness, right? They're not conscious. They're operating and they're intelligently smart and operative and functional. But this thing that just can't be found, like it will eventually lead to like this, like some circuits just like burning through. It's like we cannot figure it out, and we will do it, and you know what I mean. It's just there's this one inexplicable thing, source, God, that has to have created us. Even the robots obviously will come to that conclusion, right? It's not the humans because the humans were created by something else. Um, so yeah, it's just fascinating to see. You just can't force it, right? You can't force enlightenment, right? And that I think is a really beautiful attribute, right? Um, yeah. So let's talk about your legacy. You know, what are 3 words, like 3 words for Andrew and 3 words for Jess, that you want people to know or say at your eulogy?
3 words. Gosh.
I'll go. I would say love. I want to be remembered for the love that I've given, the love that I've channeled, the love that I've expressed and shown for my family and friends, and with a knowing that I want the people who come to my funeral to know that I knew and that I shared that love was really at the core of everything, first and foremost. Like to me, even with what you were talking about before, love is the ultimate source energy. So I really think love is the only like true core nature of all reality. It all comes from love. And then secondary to that, I would say abundance and impact. So love, abundance, impact. Those are my 3.
Beautiful.
No, I'm really keying into the word open, like open heart,
Mm,
as in I'm here to be fully seen and also to fully see and receive you. Because I think even in this conversation we were just having about, self development or the elevation of your own internal enlightenment, but also that as a vehicle to help lift up those that might be at other points along their journey. So I'm just feeling, yeah, upon my deathbed, just that real sensation of like liberated openness in heart. And as a mother and a partner, as like somebody very committed to my family, of doing that in our own kind of inner cave as well, as beautifully as I could, to leave that legacy of love with my children as they evolve and grow, and that we're continuing to kind of pass that torch into the future generations of what we've cultivated as a family unit full of love. And lastly, I want to be known for someone who had her shoes and socks off and her feet buried in the dirt. So I don't know what that would be like. Earth mom, rooted. That my toes were long and there was dirt clumped up in between them all. That's something I aspire to be doing more of now. But I think I mean that, yeah, in a real physical way, but also kind of in the metaphysical way of, yeah, feeling very deeply embodied, because I think that's some of the challenge for me personally while I'm alive, is to really like come from that ethereal place but really feel full embodied by the time I leave it.
wow. So we have love, we have abundance, we have impact, and we have open, dirty feet, or what was it?
Yeah. Yeah, open heart, beautiful mother, and dirty feet. Sure, I'll take it.
I love it.
Grounded.
So good. I love it. And I think, like, so my 3 are, and I haven't shared those before, but when I was talking, I was like, yeah, my 3 would be love, pixel, and T. Because, and there's a dot. It's not love, pixel, one word. It's love, dot, pixel, dot, T, dot. And if you look at just like these words, like whoever's listening, maybe you can think of your own words, and you can also think about our words and thinking deeper about them. What does that mean, right? Like, why love for him and kind of like, like pixel, like why pixel for him, why T for him? Like, I think it's like what these ingredients bring in my life is just indescribable, right? And love is just, that's the essence of everything that connects us all. Pixel, because I'm really here to like bridge the gap of like technology and human interface, and T, because the incredible benefits and properties it has to balance my state and my physical, mental, spiritual being. It's just, it just goes down. Like, it's, we could probably have 2-hour conversations for each of these words, because
Mm.
it's so profound, right? Same with dirt. Like there's so much in there. You know what I mean? So yeah, thank you for that. I like this is one of my favorite questions. So we're coming towards the end of the episode here of this podcast, and I wanted to ask you guys, what are you? I always want to use this space to like, what are you looking to call in? How do you see your future as spiritual entrepreneurs? So feel free to do a little bit of visioning and just sharing like, what are you looking to call in?
I know for anyone that's listening right now that's resonating with our voice, but even with our mission of empowering the womb space and the divine feminine within us all, we would love to connect with you. I think we're in a space right now, or more aspirational space of really having that mycelial network of connecting with others that are feeling this mission really deep within their heart and soul also. And through like this practice of Yoni steaming is kind of the vehicle that I'm sharing more about this, but I would love, yeah, to be connecting even more.
Beautiful. How about you, Andrew?
I would add on to that that I would like to call in a near future where this practice is recognized in a widespread and mainstream way for the true value that it has to offer for women. And that along with that, I'll speak to all the men out there as well. I am calling in all the men, and there are definitely many of them out there who I've already connected with to also see the value in this for the women in their lives. And for the greater understanding that that's going to bring value to their lives as well and their families' lives. And even on top of that, everything around returning to this state that Jessica was referring to of being open and in tune and in touch with the natural world and everything that's coming in, and home birth. I want to see home births normalized again. There's a big overlap in that with our mission. And, we had both of our children at home, but vaginal steaming and home birth go hand in hand as well. And it's not an option that most people know that they even have. So I'll put that out there for anybody that's looking to have children or you're planning on it. Reach out to us if you are interested in learning more about home birth, because we have a lot of experience with that and we've got a lot of connections in the home birth world as well. That just came to mind right now. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm
beautiful.
calling it.
And I also want to mention at this time, or always, like when people like you guys or me, like we put ourselves on the line, right? Like this is our life, right? So we don't like, especially as spiritual entrepreneurs, like we don't need to make a buck. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's fantastic to make money, and we're very graceful to receive money, and we're open. And at the same time, if you just have a question, just please reach out to them. They're here. They have an email address. You don't need to pay them money. If you want to buy their seat, great, buy their seat, right? If you want to buy another product from them, please do so. But just make sure this is a community. This is an open invitation for just like we're all humans. We're here to help each other, and take advantage of that. Right? This is a community to be really harnessed and enjoyed and nurtured. So yeah, do that. It's same for me. If a question about branding, yada yada yada, just reach out. Like this is not doesn't need to be a sale right away, right? Like that's where things just let it be, just let it be organic. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And yeah, what are the last words you want to leave the audience with, and then where can people find you guys and contact you guys?
Don't fight that feeling. Be free. Kind of what we were saying too. Happy to connect. And yeah, I think there's a lot of pushback when you do first searches around vaginal steaming or even around home birth too, of this loud blaring media blast of danger, but we can both attest to that this can be a safe and liberated and beautiful way to trust yourself and the natural process of being. And we're really happy and excited to talk to anyone and everyone about that. With, you know, yeah. Anyway, I have so much gratitude for everyone listening and appreciate being able to be here together. You can find us at leiamoon.com. It's Leiamoon.com. And you can email me directly, Jessica at Leiamoon, Andrew's info at Leiamoon, or on Instagram and YouTube, Leiamoon Steam, Leiamoon Women, TikTok as well, all those places. We also do some in-person events now with our steam stools, doing group ceremonies so that people can be introduced to this practice and experience it firsthand in community, which has been really beautiful also.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, sharing your insights, and your soul and your heart with us. Yeah, you guys are amazing, and I honor you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you for having us. Very nice to connect with you.
Likewise. Any last words from you, Andrew?
I will. I'll double down on what she said and boil it down to trust. So trust in yourself, trust in your body, trust in your divine intuition and connection to source. Those things are really the keys that we're trying to help people unlock, and always working on unlocking those ourselves too. But that's like a bigger mission and part of our brand. And you hit it right on the head when in saying that it's not just about a product or buying a product. Like, our product is a good tool to use in service to this greater mission of helping yourself. So, and we're here as people to help with that as well.
Love it. Love and thank you, thank you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks.
Thank you, Christian.